Hello, everybody. My name is Lukas Jöchner, and I'm your contact person from SEEBURGER. And yeah, I'm responsible for everything regarding D365 Business Central integration. And I'm here today with Mathis Schubert from COSMO Consult. COSMO Consult is our D365 partner. And yeah, Mathis, you maybe can introduce yourself as well.
Yes, thank you, Lucas. Hello to a little bit more cozy here webcast in the afternoon in Germany. I think we have 3 attendees now. I just want to say hello from my side. I'm Mathis Schubert, product manager at COSMO Consult for our data exchange solutions, and our COSMO EDI solution is one of these solutions. At first, I will give you a short introduction into Business Central, into EDI process, and what we are trying to achieve with our SEEBURGER. And then I will hand over to Lucas, who will give you a short introduction to SEEBURGER and what they trying to achieve with us. And then we will give you a live demo about our partnership and the solution that we made. First, a few words to COSMO Consult.
Mathis, real quick, sorry. Thank you for the introduction. So to start up and get warmed up, we would like to ask you a question, you guys that joined. And we'd like to know who of you is already using Microsoft Business Central and who of you is already working with SEEBURGER or COSMO Consult. We will give you like 30 seconds to give you an answer and also then display your answers. And then based on that, we'll start into the presentation of Mathis. Okay, very good. Some SEEBURGER customers that evaluating Business Central as their probably new ERP, and also 1 or 2 guys who are in discussion with SEEBURGER. Very good, very interesting. We are happy that you are here, and also happy to show you what might be a good solution to integrate Business Central with EDI via SEEBURGER and COSMO Consult. So, Mathis, now it's your turn.
Thank you again, Lucas. I totally forgot about the question. But now we are back on the road, and I wanted to give you a short introduction to all of my colleagues, not all, but many of them. So COSMO Consult is a company we are working in the mostly in the Germany, Austria, Switzerland area, but we are located in all over the world and implementing Business Central and some other Microsoft products, especially in the productive sector or the manufacturing sector. And we also have several apps, for example, EDI for processing documents between you and your customers or you and your vendors. And when speaking about EDI, I would like to give you a short introduction to a standard order process if you're using an ERP system or not using an ERP system, having a company and having customers. So if we're talking about the order process in the old-fashioned analog way, you can see on the left your company with these kind of sun, kind of metal, and on the right your customers. If your customer wants to order something from you, he can do it by telephone. If you call and say, hey, I would like to order, he can go to your web shop if you have a web shop and order it per web shop, or send you an email, or if you're sitting in Germany, send you a telefax. Problem on this process is, I think, yeah, it makes sense if you want to order something from, let's say, Amazon, just one thing once a year. But if you are in a company and ordering high volumes and many of different items, it's better doing that by EDI. So on the next slide, you will see probably your next ERP system, Business Central in your company, and your customer with a different ERP system. It can be Business Central, it can be anything else. So your customer is ready or can send you EDI messages. And if you're talking about the order process and talking about EDI, he will send you an orders file. When you receive your orders file, you will send him back an order response. Okay, hello customer, I've got your order and I will ship it to you by. When you ship it, you will send him this ADV, so a shipment, and at the end, you will send him an invoice. So far, so good. This is some kind of EDI standard, or let's ask the question if this really is a standard. Because in our first example, we can say our customer sent you the order by the D69A system and send the files, store it on the file server and say to you, okay, please download these files from our file server, please import it, and then you can go on with the next process in your EDI process. If you have only one customer, that could make totally sense. But I don't think that you have to be that big to have, for example, 11 customers. And then it gets a little bit chaotic because some of the customers could use some kind of XML standard or some kind of XML files to send you the orders. Other customers using the VWA standard, it's a German word, I don't know if you know it, Verband Deutsche Automobilindustrie, it's the automotive sector. And the third customers, or the third group of customers using some kind of D69A, but with some specialties. For example, they say, on this field, I would like you to send me this value, and in this field, I would like to send you this value. So if you compare their D69A with the standard D69A, you will see there are differences, and this can be a problem. And in addition to these different types of messages, you can have different type of transactions, so how you receive the documents, the EDI documents. For example, we had the file server. They can send it to you by AS2 or per SFTP. If we take a closer look at this picture and think about the numbers, you can have 11 different transfer types maximum and 44 interfaces only for the orders process, because 11 companies, 4 processes per company makes 44. It can be really hard to maintain and set up all these interfaces, because could be that you have a problem in interface 20. You have to test everything. You have to maintain everything. Then you have a problem with SFTP, so on, so on, so on. So it can be very hard, can take many time, and it can be, or can go, also a project of the implementation can be getting very expensive. This is the reason why we have some kind of post office. Let's call it post office. It's EDI clearing. So our solution is, we don't talk on a technical way to the customers directly. We talk with a post office. So we only have then one interface or one transaction and can adjust the interface for the needs of the process, but not for every customer. So this is then the technical, or the way you can see technical. that we only have to take care of the communication between us and the clearing center. But from a process view, we can directly talk to the customer. So what you see in the top of the picture, it's the technical transport, and on the bottom, you can see the process. When I say process, I mean, back to our picture with the both companies, when you have your business central system with COSMO EDI on the one side and your partner on the other side, and the partner sends you an order, you will have to create a sales order in your business central system. So it's just some kind of document where you say, okay, I'll sell you this and this and this. You need in the standard system to create an order, the master data. For example, you have to create a customer in your ERP system so that you know, okay, what is this address, where you want to ship it, and so on, so on, so on. You have to create items. You have to create prices, maybe special prices for the customer. And you store all these master data in your ERP system. Documents are also stored in your ERP system. The only thing we need to add the EDI functionality, we need to add some fields or some informations to your master data. For example, if your customer sends you an orders via EDI, he will not send it to you with his number. He will normally send it with his GLN. And then he will order item numbers, for example, EAN numbers or his own item numbers. You just have to store these information in your ERP system so that we can look for it in the ERP process or in the EDI process and create a sales order. So besides the data stored in your system, we only have to add another thing to communicate between you and the partner. We have to add a mapping. For example, a mapping to your orders import from your partner. Then we have a standard mapping where we say, okay, we know normally if your partner sends you the message, we know where we want to store these fields and maybe adjust it to your special needs if you have some specialties in your ERP process. So talking about the setup, we have 3 setup steps, and then you can start. At first, define your partner in your system. Second, set up master data and set up the partner and maybe the matching, but you're talking about setup, not develop it. And then you're ready to start. I will later show it to you in our demo database, but at first I would like to hand over to Lukas, who will show you his point of view from the SEEBURGER perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Mathis. I will take over with the presentation from the SEEBURGER side. So what Mathis just showed you was the side of, or the perspective of an D365 partner, what their problems are with EDI and Business Central. And now I show you the perspective of us, SEEBURGER, as an EDI provider, as the clearing center or postman, as Mathis said, what our hurdles are with Business Central and how we solve them with COSMO Consult. So first of all, really quick about SEEBURGER. We started 40 years ago with EDI. 40 years ago, most of the companies which did EDI were automotive companies. And yeah, so we started growing with EDI and automotive and developed very fast, very big. Now we are Europe's largest independent integration provider with about 14,000 customers worldwide, and also expanded in a lot of other industries than automotive, also CPG, retail, logistics, and so on. And I don't want to just go into deep in all of those figures. What I'd really like you to remember is just what makes us special. And in my opinion, the first thing that makes us special is that we are still a family-owned business, and this makes us very consistent and very reliable in the end. All of our solutions that we provide are 100% in-house developed. We didn't make any acquisitions and didn't sell any parts of our software so far. We didn't make any drastic changes in our strategy or any unexpected price increases so far, but rather have a reliable and consistent roadmap for the next some years, which you can rely on. And what also makes us strong is that we still are very pragmatic and find for very individual situations a pragmatic way and a pragmatic solution for our customers. So D365 at SEEBURGER is also that we have D365, or let's say Microsoft customers for many years. We have several hundreds customers in the Microsoft ERP space of the older systems like Accepta and Navisions. And we have close to 100 customers in the D365 space. And even we on our own introduced D365 at SEEBURGER. So we also see the value and the benefits of these systems, which is why we introduced Dynamics Sales, Dynamics Finance and Operations, and also Dynamics Customer Services on SEEBURGER sites, and for sure integrated them to many other systems by using our own middleware. So talking about EDI, what makes our EDI solution so special? It is that we developed a double conversion strategy. And that means that we, let's go from the Business Central side, convert any document type, whether it's an order or an invoice or an order response that we get or push into Business Central on our master format. And our master format decouples then the interface from Business Central to the interface to partners. What this means is that in the end, we have a partner side where we have 20,000 partner mappings already in place, which we maintain and further develop for our customers. So this side is not a problem. And we reduce the complexity of the project on the Business Central side to develop the interface to Business Central and also make the mapping to the Business Central formats of our customers. And in the end, this makes EDI simple to implement for our customers. It makes it very fast, as we already have the partner mappings in place and just need to deploy them. And it makes it very reliable. We maintain the partner mappings for you if there are any changes. And also it makes it very scalable and easy to onboard new EDI partners. So our problem is not the EDI side so far. Our hurdles come when it comes to Business Central, as Business Central doesn't have a standard interface for EDI, and also it doesn't have native tools to handle the data import and export, which also means that we don't have a staging where we can do review. So for example, you probably don't want to book a received order right immediately into your database. You probably want to check it in a staging environment probably by a D365 user before it is posted and before you print a receipt. So, and there's no native tool from Business Central which would do this. And also, if we then make some custom tools or develop something custom, this is always then just a matter of user-friendliness and also how easy it will be adapted and the maintainability. In most cases, you then need an expert to do any adaptations and maintain those solutions. And what we do in those cases is that we will bring in a partner with an EDI plugin, which handles all of those things that Business Central just natively can't do. And as you will see in some minutes, the COSMO EDI plugin just fits perfect into this gap. So with the COSMO EDI plugin, we have the ability to really easy import and export data, also making our staging, also can do a review process manually or also automatically, and just have all of these things like user-friendliness, easy customization by users, and the maintenance is made by COSMO Consult. And the last thing that we needed to do in this situation is that we have agreed with COSMO Consult on a standard interface between the COSMO EDI module and SEEBURGER. And with this standard interface, we have a very good solution end-to-end for our customers. So, and in the solution, as you can see, COSMO Consult brings in the BC side and SEEBURGER brings in the EDI side, which is then in the end a perfect match. And what we will show you now is how this works in practice. And for that, I'll change to our SEEBURGER system. So what you see here is just that I will upload an EDIFACT order that we receive from an EDI partner of our company. It's all imaginary, so we don't have real names, or it's just not a real case. For those of you that know EDIFACT, I can also show you the EDIFACT payload that I just sent in. It's just a little order that we send to our Business Central customer. And now I want to show you one more thing, which is our message tracking. So the message tracking is then the environment where you can see what went through your post office. Because when your customers are calling and telling you, hey, I sent you an order, have you received it or not? You may want to know, if you didn't receive it in Business Central, what went wrong or what is wrong with the order. And now you can see here, if you have received it, when you received it, it was successful, which partner it was who sent it, the file. And also you can see exactly what was in the source and what was the target. The target is not so important because this is just a standard that we agreed on with COSMO Consult. But what's probably important for you as a customer is that everything that goes over our platform, over our post office, so to say, will be printed also as PDF. So your departments can also do the first level support and don't need to understand EDIFACT for this in the end. So they can just look at what your customer sent and then see if that's right or wrong. So that what you sent here, that what you see here, I've sent to Mathis in Business Central, and that's why Mathis now takes over to show you how it will processed in the ERP.
Okay, now you can see my screen with Business Central. And because we had a question in our first webcast, this is Business Central. This is not some kind of interface. This is the view of the EDI role center. So Business Central have the ability to show you different role centers, depending on your role, what you are doing. Now I'm in the role center of EDI because here I'm an EDI administrator, but I could also, if I want to open purchase orders from here or anything else, it has the full functionality. It's just more what you see here is what you are doing in your company. But let's move on with our example. And here I received messages and see I got a new message today at 3:24. Let's say reread it. It's from my sender and it's from SEEBURGER in orders import. I just have to process it now. I can do all these things automatically, but to show you the whole magic, I just decided to do it manually. And what I can see here now is a sales order has been created. If something would go wrong, you would get an error here. So for example, if you forgot to maintain your customer and add an GLN to him, you would get an error that the customer has not been found. So this is here where you get all the errors you're getting from the ERP system, mostly because of missing data or maybe because your customer is blocked. It could also be a problem that the sales order cannot be created and it says customer is blocked for invoicing and for shipment. You would get the error here. But let's now open the sales orders and take a closer look at the sales order that has been created. Here you can see our customer number and here you can see the lines. How does the system know that this is the customer we want to create a sales order for? Because of this field, it is the GLN number. And this is what we have seen in the message file before, that this is the GLN. And if you take a closer look at the sales positions, you also can see here, and this is standard Business Central. You have here the item with the item references, and in the item references we have some other numbers, item numbers for the whole item. So we have a barcode. We found the item by the barcode. There could also be a special customer number or a special vendor number. It's all possible to create an item with one of these numbers. So based on the information from SEEBURGER, we created our sales order here with the sales lines, and we found our own price. So we decided not to take the price maybe got by the EDI file. We take our own prices, but it would be possible if you want to, that here the price is the price you got from your customers, but technically I would say it makes no sense. But yeah, it depends a little bit on your process and how you use the system. The only thing we have to do now is we will post it because we don't want to send this eval and an orders response. We just want to be received an order and we will send back an invoice. So what I do now is I post it, say ship an invoice, and I get an invoice number. I don't want to open the posted invoice, but I want to send back the posted invoice to my customer via SEEBURGER. What I can do now is here again, can be totally automatically, or I can go to my EDI journal, create a proposal for sending this document. And I can see now here is one sales line, or not one sales line, one line for the posted sales invoice. And I see here that there are no errors, no warnings, and no confirmations that I have to take care of. If you, for example, would send a purchase order in a different process to one of your vendors and would send it by EDI, it could happen that you forgot something. Let's, for example, forgot an EAN or forgot a GLN for your vendors. Then you would get here an error or a warning stating that you please have to add some information before you can send these documents. So this is where we do our checks. The second thing you see here is the partner number. So before we only talked about the customer number. Besides of the customer, you have a partner in your EDI context. If you open the partner, you have a bunch of information. We don't need them now. I only want to show you two things. First, the transactions. You can define for your partner, okay, what transactions are you having with my partner? Here in my example, I send in invoices and I can have just adjust some things. For example, how I would like to identify my items and some other things. And besides of the transactions, I can define the export paths. The export path is the transportation type we are using with our partner. And this is the only part in our EDI system where you see, okay, SEEBURGER comes into place because we have here a file transfer code. And within the file transfer code, you see that we have some different types of transfer. SEEBURGER is one of them. We have here our connection URL, username and password. And we see here that we have a mapping code that's coming with the file transfer code. If you take a closer look at the mapping, this is where we have a standard mapping. So for example, invoice export, and it's possible to adjust everything from here. I talked to you earlier that normally you would send or you would receive from your customer an EAN code or a barcode, but you can also say, okay, no, my customer sends us his own item number and I store it in a standard table, for example, the item references, or in a completely independent table that I developed by myself. You can choose it here. You can set up the whole mapping, and this is then later how we build up our JSON file to send it to SEEBURGER. So if we are going back to our EDI journal, we see no problems. We can just say post and could send it to SEEBURGER automatically. But to show you everything, we can open our outbox messages. Sorry, you see here it's to send. You can take a short look at the file. How does it look? So this is the format we are using with SEEBURGER, and as I told you before, we can adjust everything that is in here depending on your needs. Okay, I will now send the files and hand over to Lucas, who will process with the invoice.
Yeah, thank you, Mathis. So yeah, now we are kind of at the end of the process. We received the order, we processed it in the ERP, we then generated an invoice and sent it back to our EDI broker, which is SEEBURGER. And I already got to the message tracking again and just saw that I received a new file from our CPG Business Central partner, which is Mathis ERP, and see also that it is an invoice which just came in. And again, the cool thing here is that I see what Mathis just showed us, the JSON file that we generated. This is the standard we agreed on. And as Mathis said, it's the standard base, which has everything in general what you need for EDI, and which is then extendable to any customization of any of our customers. And again, we used our double conversion approach to then generate the respective edifact file, which we then would send to our trading partner. And also again, as this is running over our master format, we automatically generate the PDF, which then can be viewed by any user to see what was actually in this file. And we see here the invoice and also the item numbers. As you can also see here, as Mathis showed you, we have then the item number of the supplier and also of the buyer. Surprisingly, in this case, they are the same because we just coordinated this demo up front. In reality, they probably would be different. Okay, very good, very good. This is now the whole story end to end, how you can do EDI with Business Central. Let me just real quick sum up the solution. We have COSMO Consult, which does everything within Business Central to make it very easy for you to handle incoming EDI files and also handle how they are going out. And then we have SEEBURGER, which makes it very easy for you to integrate any EDI partner, as we have like any communication protocol like AS2, AS4, SFTP, ODET, and so on. And we also have any formats and a library of 20,000 partner mappings that you can use out of the box. So, Mathis, do you have any conclusion? Did I forget about anything?
No, I think it's
very good, very good. So I'll just have a look if we have any questions so far. If you have any questions, guys, now is the right time to post them in our chat so that we can talk about this. We still have 20 minutes left. So far, I can't see any question. Let's just wait another minute. Yeah, well, if not, we could also use the time that we still have left to just go over some recently asked questions about the solution. One question already was answered, if this was the real Business Central ERP, which Mathis showed. Yes, it is a sandbox of Business Central. It's the plain, so to say, Business Central. For which version, for which Business Central version is the COSMO EDI module available?
We had the same question in the German webcast. This solution is developed for the newer versions of Business Central. So our EDI module is available from, I think we started with enough, but especially this solution is designed for the newer versions. I think the minimum version now for our EDI module is let me give you a check. I think it's BC24 or BC25. It is. Yes, the minimum version for COSMO EDI now is BC24. I don't know when we so we have our COSMO EDI app already on App Source. You can download it, but we have to finish our development with the interface to SEEBURGER. It could be that we have as minimum version BC24, but I think it could be also BC25. Normally, we have the same maintenance support as Microsoft has, so for the last 3 versions.
Okay, very good. So another question was if this orders and invoice messages are compliant with the new rules of the European institutions, which is the EN 16931. And those particular messages that you just sent to Business Central and received are not because they are just demo messages. However, if you work with us, we can make your messages EN 16931 compliant. Okay. Do you want to add anything to that, Mathis?
No, nothing to this as well, because this compliance is part of SEEBURGER, not of Business Central.
But probably there's another question for you. I'll begin answering this though, because it is about how we handle all of those customer references, for example, or also, as you showed us, article references. So our recommendation is always to store those reference tables within the ERP so that you have one single source of truth where you can make all of those reference lookups. You probably have to add or want to add something to this, Mathis, right?
I only have to add something in addition. Customer references is a standard functionality in Business Central. So I showed you the table. So if you want, I can show it to you again.
Oh, you probably need then the monitor from me.
Yes.
So here you go.
So if we open the item table again, you have here a related, also you have related tables, for example, item variants and item unit of measures, and so on, so on, so on. And you also have identifiers, and generally we recommend to use item references, and the reference can be a customer number. So if your customer have a special barcode, you can say, okay, customer 4000 has this reference number for this unit of measure, and maybe variant. You can also add starting and ending dates. You can use references for the vendor, or as a barcode, this is the position where you normally would store the EEN number of the item. But yeah, with the mapping, you can the mapping are in standard using or searching for these fields. Would be also possible to change the mapping to search at first for the reference, and if you don't find it, then you search for the item number on the item card. But yeah, it's possible, and it's possible to create also create sales orders manually with these item references. There's a special field that's where you can enter the item number or the item reference number, as you wish.
And yeah, even though it's our recommendation to always go with the ERP to make those references, we know that it's not always possible because you have historically grown systems. So just in case this is the case, we also have the possibility to make lookups within our middleware that we have showed you. We can store reference tables there, and we can also make lookups in the mapping directly, which are then processed within the mapping. So this would be, well, not the wished solution, but if it's yeah, necessary, this would be also possible. Okay, so far these were the questions that I've seen. So then I would say thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thank you very much, Mattis, for the good work that we have done in the last past months. And I'm looking forward to talk to everybody of you directly if you have any further questions in the next weeks or want to go into detail within any topics. And well, thank you, everybody. And
also from my side,
see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.